Hello, how's everyone doing? I know you're wondering what's going on here. Hi, this is Regina from Regina's Baking Academy, where we know that what? Baking is cool. Also, we've gone through different things around baking, and I just want to come back tonight and touch base on something that we've done in the past. When I was doing my 100 live stream personal challenge that was created and inspired by hashtag Harry the Big Dog that celebrated his 55th birthday not too long ago. So happy birthday. Happy birthday, Harry. So hi, Harry. So one of the things I did during the live is I was thinking about, wow, what can I do to share some information and how can I do this 100 live stream challenge, because I was not a person that used Facebook or social media for any extended period of time. But when I thought about it, and I had these three great wise men basically say to me, why don't you talk about what you love, about what you want to do? Baking. I was like, yay, I could do that. So if you go into some of my videos, you'll see that I've done at least 100 videos, and at least 90 plus of them are rich content, and we talk about everything from baking cakes to making frostings to measurements and more. And one of the sessions I did was cookies, and more cookies. So in this lesson, we talked about how to make different kind of cookies in advance, because guess what? A lot of us are moms, we're wives, we're workers, we have a lot of responsibility, and yet we like to bake every now and again. But sometimes when you already have a lot on your plate, you can feel like being overwhelmed with having to bake, right? So if you're that type that you like to bake, but you don't want to have to do all of that at one time, guess what, guys? If you check my videos on cookies, and more cookies, just check it out in my academy. Look under my videos. I go through how to prepare your cookie doughs in advance, how to store it, and then when it's time to bake, you save so much time. Actually, we did this together about a week or so ago when I had prepared some lemon cookies and some ginger cookies, and I made the doughs in advance. So what happened was, since the dough was already made, I decided, why don't we just go ahead and bake a few? And that's what we did. And what I did in that lesson is that I had pre-prepared the ingredients. And in culinary speak, that's called mise en place, meaning things in place. So one of the ways to not feel overwhelmed when you're baking, guys, is to first make sure you have your ingredients. Always make sure you have your recipe, especially if it's something that you're not familiar with and you're just getting used to it. Your recipe will tell you what you need, but your directions will tell you how to put all of those yummy things together. So that's why it's important to have both of those, guys. Now, when it comes to something like a cookie dough, you can make those in advance. Now, I know most of us have been to the supermarket, right? And you see like the cookie dough pre-wrapped, right? And it's in there. You could pick it up and you could slice it and make it yourself, sort of. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to really make it yourself, you can do it in advance. And then on another day, you can bake some cookies. So you don't have to do it all at one time. Like, oh my goodness, I got to get up and I got to make a recipe for chocolate chip cookies. And oatmeal raisin cookies, and that's a lot. Well, here you go. You can prep your doughs in advance, and then at a later date, you can actually bake the cookies. Now, sometimes you're in those situations where you may not have that kind of leeway, and that's okay. One of the things that you can do, though, is that you can prepare your mise en place, which means that you have out your butters, your sugar. Oftentimes you need salt. Have your eggs, okay, and whatever other ingredients you need. If you need chocolate chips, have those prepared. That way, it's easier for you, whatever extracts you need. If you're using vanilla, lemon, have that with you. So I'm going to give you an example. Christmas time, I like to send my dad and a few of my friends cookies for the holidays. But this year, with the mail being as slow as it was, I was going to mail out the cookies like on Monday, last Monday, which was like the 21st. And I was talking to a good friend of mine, and he was like, you know what, Regina? It's going to be really, really busy. Everyone mailing a lot of stuff because of COVID. They can't get to their families, so there's a lot more stuff being in the mail. So if you mail the cookies now, they may not get there till way after Christmas, and then by that time, they may not be fresh. So I had a conundrum, guys. I was like, well, what should I do? Well, what I did was I made the cookie dough in advance. I prepped it. I wrapped it in the parchment paper, wax paper, aluminum foil, and then I put it in a Ziploc bag. And I stored it in a cool place in my refrigerator because I knew that I was going to use that cookie dough in the near future. So guess what, guys? I got something to show you. I made these chocolate chip cookies tonight with the cookie dough that I prepared a week ago. I made these oatmeal raisin cookies with a cookie dough that I prepared a week ago. And because I did it in advance, it saved me at least half the time to just pan it and put them in the oven. So while I was unable to mail them to my dad around Christmas, I was able to make the dough in advance, make them tonight, and so when I go out in the morning, I can put them in the mail and he will get them before the week is over, and they'll be fresh. So ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you don't have to do everything at the same time, especially when it comes to cookies. Now, there's other pastries that you can also prep in advance. Some things you can't necessarily do. I wouldn't suggest that with cake because cake batter settles. And it really doesn't come out the same if you hold it in the refrigerator. So some recipes maybe, some not. But here's the cool part. At Regina's Baking Academy, you get to learn all of that stuff. So what I'd love for you to do is to, like my page, follow me, and when I have different things coming on, you could join it and be part of it. I also have a YouTube channel that I'm creating some really great content because I love to share, I love to teach, and I'm always learning because the more I learn, the more I have to offer you. And guess what? You don't have to do the heavy lifting. That's my job. So I just wanted to come and check in because I did promise that I was going to come. I had a great question from one of my awesome folks out there. They asked me, could you re-whip cake batter and make it work? It depends on the type of cake batter you have. Some I've found with a thicker consistency, they actually work. Like if I was making a yellow cake, or if I was making a white cake, meaning that I'm using all egg whites, and not egg yolks, or if I was using all egg yolks for the yellow cake. A thicker batter seemed to hold better. But if I was making like a chocolate cake or a red velvet cake, I've tried to rework the batter and the consistency isn't the same when I baked it off in the oven. So I do believe it depends on the consistency of the recipe. The thicker recipes have a tendency to hold up better. And I wouldn't keep it in the refrigerator no more than 2 or 3 days max. So if you knew you were going to make the batter in advance and you were going to use it like immediately in that week, then that makes sense. But now you have to listen, always follow the instructions. And one of the things that you want to find out when you're making particular recipes is, can you store them, or how long can you store cake batter? Now, it varies. So all recipes aren't the same. So they all have different requirements. Okay? So that's my answer to that. It depends on the batter, the consistency, and it depends on how long you plan on, when are you going to use that particular recipe. Now, with cookie dough is different. It just holds and binds together. But with cake batter, you have other things. You have the milks, right? You have other things that you put in there that impacts the stability of that cake batter, which is why when you're baking a cake, the rule of thumb is when you're making it and you finish with that batter, you don't let it sit out. You get it in the oven right away. Okay? So those are some of the things that you learn, and have fun. I like to say that baking is cool, but baking is also a journey, y'all. And there's so much fun you can learn along the way. And one of the things that I've learned is that when you are baking and you're creating those delicious treats, whether it's for you or for a friend, or maybe you're doing a bake sale when we're able to do those again, you're creating worlds of experiences. So every time you bake a treat, or every time, think about the last time you went and you had that good piece of cake, or that delicious yummy pie, and how that made you feel. It was a world of experience, right? My granddaughter's 5th birthday was Christmas. She's a Christmas baby. And this year, every year now since she turned 3, she knows what she wants. They think they're 20 when they're 3, and by the time they turn 5, they think they're grown. But anyway, she knew what she wanted for her birthday, and I asked her mother. I said, "What does she want? What's her theme?" She's like, "Mommy, I think she wants this LOL." I'm like, "What is that?" Well, I had to do my research, guys, because I had no idea. I mean, I'm a grandma now, so I don't do the cartoons and stuff, right? So I had to do some research to find out what LOL was. And it's these little dolls, and it's supposed to be LOL surprise. Anywho, after I did the research, I realized that this cake was going to be a challenge. However, because I took my time to do the research, I understood what I needed for the cake and how it was supposed to come out. I was able to make her a beautiful birthday cake for her 5th birthday. And it was work. Hey, Shauna. But it was well worth it. So I created a world of experience for her that she would never forget. And also because we took a lot of photos. But what was really great about doing that cake was it was a lot of work, but it was worth it. For her, I would make the moon if she asked me to. But I also had the skill set, the patience to understand that I needed to learn how to do a new thing. Because some of that stuff I did on that cake, I hadn't done before. But I practiced how to do it before I actually had to do it. So when everyone sees that cake, they're like, wow, that's beautiful. And I appreciate all of those compliments. It was also a labor of love. So I was able to create a world of experience for my granddaughter because I was willing to learn. I was patient with the process. I followed the instructions. I was able to step outside of my comfort zone and be creative at the same time. So that's why it's important to, when you have your recipes, make sure you have your ingredients. Make sure you have the right utensils. Make sure your oven is working well. And make sure you got energy and patience. Because whether you believe it or not, after you make sure you have all of the ingredients, you are the main ingredient. Because if your energy is down, if you have an attitude about something, or if you just out of it, you may make a mistake. Something may happen. And to be quite honest, I woke up very early Christmas morning and a few things went wrong. But you know what? I was so present that it was about what I needed to do. I didn't even get upset. I was like, okay, I got more. No problem. And here's another lesson I want to share with you guys before I say goodnight. When you are doing something that you haven't done before, and if it's a big project, especially in baking, please make sure you have enough butter, enough sugar, and enough flour that's required just in case that first cake you make doesn't come out right. So you never want to be caught short. So when you're in the kitchen, not only do you want to have the recipe, but you want to have more than that if it's your first time and you're doing it for a special occasion. So give yourself time. I got up early. I got up before 6 in the morning and I went at it. And I'm glad I got up that early because there were a couple of things that went wrong, but I was able to bounce back. And my bounce back wasn't because I'm so good at what I do. That was part of it. But the other part of it was that I was patient with the process. And I understood that it wasn't about me. And I didn't make myself the bad guy because something went wrong. I understood that things happen. And it happens to the best of us. So my job was to not catch an attitude. It was to get back up. It was make some more dough, make some more batter, and make those cakes. Because I had a granddaughter looking forward to her birthday cake, and I was not going to disappoint my girl. So when you have those things as a motivation, you prepare in advance. And what you do is you have more than enough so you're not caught short. Okay? I had extra butter, extra eggs, extra cake flour, extra sugar. I had bought twice as much of everything I needed on the outside chance that something may happen. Now, mind you, I've been baking for over 15 years. And for the last 12 to 14 years, I haven't messed up a cake. But you never know when something can happen. And it just so happens on Christmas morning, something did happen. I'm going to share with you guys because you're here with me tonight or this morning. Let me tell you what happened. I made 4 cakes, 2 9-inch, 2 6-inches. You know what happened to those cakes? They all fell. All. You know what I did? I said, no problem. I have butter, I have eggs, I have sugar, I have baking powder, I have milk, I have extract, and I'm okay. I just turned around took out some more baking pans, and I did it all over again. No problem. And it turned out fine. Because as long as I had the right attitude and I didn't let it overwhelm me, I just kept it moving and didn't miss a beat. And I had dinner done before 2 o'clock. And my baby's cakes were done by 5. That's what happens when you're focused and you're patient with the process. So, I want to say good night, good morning, good day. And I thank you for taking the time. I had made a commitment that I was going to come back and show you some cookies. So for those who didn't see, I made the chocolate chip cookies. These are the walnut chocolate chip cookies. And these are the oatmeal raisin cookies that were made with the demerara sugar. They are so good. So good. Eating these cookies, they really taste so good. Okay, I did that for Celia. So I just want to say thank y'all for coming to chat with me in Regina's Baking Academy, where we learn that baking is cool, but we also learn some other things too. So I just want to say that I appreciate you guys. Child, you know I can't say. I could bake. I could bake like a... Singing, that's my kid's job. But I really want you to know that baking is so much fun. And I'm going to tell you, when I saw the look on my granddaughter's face, and she was like, Grandma, is that for me? And I was like, yes. And that was everything. But guess what even was extra? My children, my Amazons and stuff, they were like, Ma, this is so good. You know, even though your kids are grown, it still makes you feel good when they acknowledge your work. Because my kids take it for granted that I bake. They take it for granted I bake and I cook and I teach and I do all this stuff. So it's like, yeah, that's Mom. That's no big deal. But when they saw that cake, they were like, Ma, you did that. Like, wow. And I didn't expect them to have that response, because I was looking at Geneva. She was my focus. Like, you know, she's my muse when it comes to stuff like that. So, yeah. And I definitely stepped outside of my comfort zone, because I didn't do those type of cakes before. Not like that. So, yeah. Yep. That's what happens. When kids are used to you doing everything like that, it's not a big deal to them that you make cakes or you cook big dinners, you know? So it was nice that they appreciated the work that I put into it, because it was levels to that cake. So my joy is to be able to teach you guys how to create levels in what you do. So at Regina's Baking Academy, this is where you can learn these things. So come back, like my page, follow me, and I'm going to put in a link later on my YouTube channel if it's not already up there. But we got a lot of fun stuff on the way. So I want y'all to pay attention. And listen, I'm also part of a great group. We have Red Velvet Crumbles. So come over, hop over there, become a member of that page. You're going to learn some great stuff there, have a lot of fun. So thank you, Jason. So this is what we up to, okay? And take care. Good night for now. And like I always like to say, be patient with yourself. Be patient with the process. And please be patient with each other. We're not perfect. None of us are. Hopefully, each day we're working to be better than we were the day before. Take care. Bye for now.